everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are tackling a challenge that, honestly, almost every single chess player faces at some point, breaking through that incredibly frustrating intermediate plateau. And to do this, we're not just going to talk about abstract chess theory. Instead, we've got our hands on a real-world evaluation report from AD India for a student named Aditya. By tracking Aditya's journey as he moves up into a brand new, much tougher class, we're going to extract 3 actionable steps to better chess. Steps that you can literally apply to your own game right now.
Okay, let's dive into this. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Have you ever felt totally, completely stuck at intermediate chess? You know, you understand the rules, you can spot some pretty decent tactics, but your rating, it just refuses to climb. It's a completely universal frustration. You basically hit a wall where sheer instinct just isn't going to cut it anymore. And well, that is exactly where our case study protagonist, Aditya, finds himself right now.
So, Aditya has recently transitioned from the intermediate beginner level 2 into the much more demanding advanced and intermediate class. His coaches over at AD India noted that he brings some really fantastic strengths to the board. He's got this raw natural aptitude for the game, really strong analytical skills to spot weaknesses, and a knack for highly creative thinking. But to actually survive and thrive at this next level, he's got some specific hurdles to clear. We're talking inconsistent practice, some trouble staying focused during lessons, and a really bad habit of resigning games way too early. It's that classic tension, right? The battle between raw natural talent and the discipline habits you actually need to advance.
So the crucial point here is that overcoming this plateau requires a highly structured approach. Aditya's coaches laid out a specific action plan for him, and when we distill that plan down, it perfectly outlines 3 universal steps to better chess. Step 1, consistent practice. Step 2, master endgames. And step 3, solid openings. Let's break down exactly what each of these means, starting with the absolute foundation.
Step 1, the consistency engine.
The #1 critique in Aditya's report, and honestly a major red flag for his overall development, is his irregular practice schedule. The report explicitly points out that this lack of a routine is completely hindering his progress. It's a great reminder that even the most naturally gifted players are going to stall out if they don't build a reliable, daily engine of practice. Now, to fix this, the AD India team doesn't just handwave and tell Aditya to play more chess. No, they ground that abstract advice into highly measurable weekly targets using Lichess. They specifically focus his daily tracking on his puzzle rating and his regular play on his rapid rating. You have to set aside dedicated time every single day to track your practice and actually monitor that progress. Take this direct quote from his feedback report, for example. He hasn't been practicing regularly, which is essential for improving chess skills. It is incredibly straightforward, but man, it speaks volumes. Aditya's brilliant analytical skills and his creative problem solving, they mean absolutely nothing if he isn't actually sitting down at the board to practice consistently. The action plan heavily stresses regular check-ins and daily time tracking for one simple reason: consistency is the only vehicle that can carry raw talent across the finish line. And that brings us to step 2, mastering the end game. According to his evaluation, Aditya is actually quite a beast at analyzing positions and spotting tactical opportunities in the middle of the board. But a huge area for improvement identified by his coaches is his endgame technique. He really struggles to take those hard-fought mid-game advantages and actually convert them into wins. I mean, you can play a brilliant mid-game, but if you don't know how to close it out, the victory just slips right through your fingers. And this directly connects to a very human, very universal psychological hurdle that the report brings up: resigning too quickly. When the board gets tough, Aditya has a tendency to just concede the game, rather than looking for a way to salvage the position. Look, if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed in a complex, messy position and just rage-clicked that resign button out of pure frustration, you know exactly how this feels. To combat this exact issue, the AD India team recommends a highly dedicated endgame study plan. Because think about it, when you actually know your endgame techniques, you build the psychological confidence to fight through those difficult positions. You aren't scared because you know how to navigate the final stages of the match. By studying specific endgame resources, players learn how to reliably convert their advantages into actual wins. And even better, by combining Aditya's natural creative thinking with solid endgame knowledge, he's going to start spotting creative salvages in seemingly lost positions. That completely eliminates the urge to resign too quickly, because you always know you have a fighting chance.
Now we shift from how games end to how they absolutely must begin. Step 3, a solid opening repertoire.
If the endgame is all about converting your advantage, the opening is about securing that advantage in the very first place. It ensures you step out onto the board with a rock-solid foundation. Now, remember earlier we said Aditya has a brilliant skill for coming up with unique, highly creative solutions on the fly? That is awesome. But relying solely on ad hoc creativity right out of the gate can leave you incredibly vulnerable against a well-prepared opponent. You have to study different openings to structure that creativity. You are setting the stage for victory from move one so you aren't constantly playing catch-up for the rest of the game.
Now, tying all of this together, the winning chess mindset and support system. Because, let's be real, knowing these 3 technical steps, consistent practice, endgames, and openings, is one thing. Actually executing them day in and day out, that is a whole different ballgame. That requires a pivot to the emotional and environmental factors of playing chess.
Establishing habits and minimizing your distractions takes real, concerted effort, and players constantly struggle to stay motivated, especially if they aren't seeing immediate rating jumps. So what's the solution here? A robust support system. The coaches at ADD Ed India strongly encourage active parent involvement to help monitor that progress and provide emotional support. Furthermore, they highly recommend engaging in online or offline tournaments and joining active chess communities or forums to connect with other players. Getting positive reinforcement and sharing the experience with the community makes the solitary grind of chess so much more sustainable.
I really want to highlight this beautifully encouraging quote straight from the report. Improving chess skills takes time, patience, and persistence. Celebrate small victories along the way. This just perfectly bridges the dry technical steps with the very real psychological journey of acquiring a complex skill. Whether you are finally hitting your Lichess puzzle target for the week, or you successfully salvage a really gritty endgame instead of just resigning, those small victories are the exact stepping stones you need to master the advanced intermediate class and way beyond.
So we've unpacked Aditya's roadmap. We've seen the absolute necessity of a consistent practice engine, the undeniable confidence that comes from mastering the endgame, and the solid foundation of a carefully studied opening repertoire. Now, I'm turning the board over to you. What is your next move? How are you going to apply these 3 steps to better chess from the ADD Ed India report to finally overcome your own plateau? Think about it, set up your board, and start tracking those daily targets. You've got this.